We all carry identities gender, race, caste, class, sexuality that shape how the world sees us. But what happens when society's version of who we are doesn't match who we know ourselves to be? And what happens when that mismatch gives some of us a head start while leaving others struggling to catch up? Welcome to the Personal Lens, where we explore the political through the personal. I'm your host, and today we are diving deep into a topic that's messy, uncomfortable, and absolutely necessary: privilege. Privilege, it's one of those words that triggers defensiveness. I worked hard, I earned this. Sure, but privilege doesn't mean your life is easy. It just means there are some barriers you don't face. Think of it like this. Imagine a video game. Some players start with extra lives, better gear, and maps. Others begin with none of that and still make it through. And that's the difference privilege makes. For example, if you're a man walking home at night, you might feel free. If you're a woman or a queer person, every step might feel like a risk. That's gender privilege, not because men never suffer, but because they aren't targeted in the same way. Peggy McIntosh famously called privilege an invisible knapsack, a set of unearned assets we carry around without noticing. Like the freedom to express opinions without being called angry or aggressive or ungrateful. In India, identity isn't just about individual expression, it's tightly interwoven with caste, religion, language, and region. If you speak English with a posh accent, you're assumed to be cultured. But if you speak with an ethnic accent, you're provincial or worse, unintelligent. That's linguistic privilege reinforced by class and geography. In Assam, an upper caste English educated man in Guwahati will likely face fewer institutional roadblocks than a working class Muslim woman from Borpeta. That's how intersectionality works, a concept coined by Kimberly Crenshaw to describe how overlapping identities produce unique forms of disadvantage. One has to take note that privilege isn't just personal, it's institutional. Dalits in India have constitutional protections, and yet caste based violence persists. How often do we see tribal women on Indian news panels, or Dalit men as CEOs in corporate ads? Privilege shows up in who gets to tell stories and who gets reduced to a mere statistic. Institutions, even in institutions, we see. Think of how merit is often used as a shield to oppose reservation. But merit without equity is just privilege masquerading as fairness. Let's make it personal. When was the first time you realized you had privilege or didn't? Or maybe, like many women, you were told he only teases you because he likes you. Gendered microaggressions normalized in childhood are early lessons in who gets to define reality. Ask yourself, have you ever been assumed to be competent because of how you look? Or ever been followed around in a store? Or praised for speaking good English because your skin color or region or maybe your ethnicity suggested you wouldn't? And this happened to me personally in Mumbai when a few people from the industry heaped praises on the way I spoke English, which they said was without the accent that people from my region apparently had. And mind you, they were being genuinely appreciative of my spoken skills. And honestly, at that time, I was high on the appreciation, feeling elated. It took me quite a long time to one day finally realize that behind such assumptions, there were larger structures at play. But what I want to say is these aren't random, they are scripts written by power. Let's talk about pop culture, one of the most powerful tools that shape how we see identity, power, and privilege. Film, television, music, memes, these aren't just entertainment, they are cultural blueprints. They show us what's normal, what's aspirational, and what's invisible. So let's dig into this. How does pop culture reinforce or resist privilege? Bollywood is one of the biggest culprits, and we say this lovingly as fans, but most mainstream films privilege upper caste, cisgender, heterosexual, able bodied, fair complexioned male protagonists. In Aarakshan, a film about reservation and caste inequality, the lead role was played by Saif Ali Khan, a privileged actor with no lived experience of caste discrimination. The story's focus gradually shifted from systemic inequality to personal redemption, watering down the structural critique. Films like Article 15 attempt to engage with caste injustice, but the hero is an upper caste savior. The oppressed are there to generate moral gravity, not agency. Dalit lives are narrated through the eyes of the privileged. These films create the illusion of social justice while subtly reinforcing existing hierarchies. Now, shows like Made in Heaven, it's a series that does a better job than most at showing intersectional privilege. Karan, a gay man, still benefits from being wealthy and upper caste. Tara, a woman from a modest background, navigates elite Delhi society through performance and adaptation. The series exposes how class and caste coexist even within marginalized identities. Yet, and this is important, the creators themselves are from the elite English speaking backgrounds. Their lens is introspective, but still privileged. What's missing? More creators from working class, Dalit, queer, trans, and Northeast Indian communities. Instagram is flooded with woke content, but here's the catch. Most successful creators are conventionally attractive, upper class, English speaking, often from metro cities. Their packaging makes their activism more palatable to brands and audiences. Upper caste influencers promoting intersectional feminism rarely amplify Dalit voices beyond token allyship posts. Meanwhile, creators like Dalit Camera or the Queer Muslim Project are much less visible despite deep critical work. Social media algorithms reward aesthetic, not authenticity. A queer disabled creator from a rural town gets buried under beauty reels and privilege friendly hot takes. And who gets to be beautiful? Most fashion ads center light skinned, thin, fair featured models. Fair and Lovely, rebranding as Glow and Lovely, is not decolonization. It's rebranding without dismantling. It continues to sell colorism, just with a new filter. So, who's missing, who's speaking, and who's listening? Representation without power is just performance. When pop culture mirrors power structures without critique, it doesn't liberate, it normalizes. As Bell Hooks said, representation is the hot issue in terms of the connection between race and gender and class. But the deeper issue is who controls the narrative? Privilege isn't something to feel guilty about unless we are ignoring it. The real question is what are we doing with it? Are we amplifying marginalized voices? Are we questioning our assumptions? Are we speaking up when it's uncomfortable? If you're a man, do you call out sexist jokes in your friend circle? If you're upper caste, do you advocate for reservations, not just privately but publicly? Instead of saying not all men, do you ask, how can I help make this space safer? Instead of saying we are all human, do we ask, who isn't being treated as one? Privilege isn't a label, it's a lens. And on the personal lens, we believe in constantly cleaning that lens, even when the view is uncomfortable. The answers to the questions we put to ourselves may not always be simple or pleasant, but they'll always be worth exploring. So until next time, keep listening, keep reflecting, and keep using your privilege to level the playing field.